Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 134 of Be With Me. Title of today is The Osteosarcoma-ness of Lustful Intent. Osteosarcoma is a nasty bone tumor that has a tendency to spread, and it wants to kill you. And we're going to use that as a little picture of lustful intent. We're in Matthew chapter 5. This is the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus is going through some various topics, and he says in verse 27, "You have heard it said, you shall not commit adultery." That's from the Ten Commandments in Exodus 20. "But I say to you," so he's going to give us his insight into this and define it for us, "that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart." And then I wanted to focus on these two verses today about the consequences. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out, throw it away, for it's better that you lose one of your members than the whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off, throw it away, for it is better that you lose one of your members than your whole body go to hell. Similarly, with our picture here today, it's better to cut off, have a surgery for a tumor, an osteosarcoma, before it spreads and kills the whole body. So the topic here is about what do we do with our zipper, and then Jesus extends that and says, what do we do with the zipper of our eye, and what do we do even further with the zipper of our mind? So what adultery is having a person who is not your own to have. Adultery is the physical possession of that person who's not your own to have. Then lustful eyes are using that person in a way that you're not to have them. And then in your mind, you don't even need eyes. You can do this all inside your head. So the point of the verses 29 and 30 is let's talk about stuff that causes you to sin. And what happens, we've already learned that when we sin, it interferes with the status of our relationship with God, and also the relationships of others. And he's kind of listing off a bunch of them in the Sermon on the Mount. That anger can do this, and lust can do this, and lustful intent can do this. And it can result in an interference with our worship. So the consequences here are judgment. It's liable to the hell of fire. You mean to tell me that lustful intent can go bad and expand and metastasize to such an extent that my entire soul would be at risk for this? And the answer is yes. He mentions it twice, and just up the road when he talked about anger, he talked about that also being mortally riskful. So the risk is that the whole body be thrown into the hell of you, that one part of you can get so out of control, and it can result in the destruction of the whole body. If your anger causes this problem, or if your lustful intent causes you this problem. And verse 29 uses the analogy of if it's your right eye, and the verse 30, if it's your right hand. So the idea of, quote unquote, I can't help it, or it's no big deal, or everybody does it, that's not what we're talking about here. This is a very radical look at this. So if you're involved in some sort of porn or having people that are not your own, the answer is no, that's not okay. One of the things that's really touching about this is that we have a Lord that the key concept here is not that, hey, I caught you in anger or I caught you in lustful intent. The point is I don't want you to be caught in anger or in lustful intent. I don't want you to be controlled by this. I don't want you to be condemned. So he's giving you a warning before it happens. So this passage, even though it has the word hell in it twice, is bathed with compassion. There's a radical concern that the Lord has for us. Why is that? Well, because there's a radical cancer that's loose. It's the osteosarcoma of lustful intent, and if it goes unchecked, it can result in your ultimate demise. So that's why sometimes radical surgery is required. And the ultimate sin, even though the lusty and the luster are involved with sin, the ultimate sin is against the Lord. All right, so let's bring this home. So how can we help? So let's get this in mind, that we are a people at risk, and we are a people prone to get this area wrong. And perhaps we can help each other by the way that we present ourselves and offer ourselves to the world. It's almost like saying, hey, I'm going to have a newly sober alcoholic over for dinner, and I'm going to leave out, all kinds of drinks and shot glasses all over the place. It would be discourteous or unkind or even cruel to think of it that way. So this is a big deal for everybody. Everybody you meet is dealing with this issue, and some people, think about the various stages, are walking around with an osteosarcoma and having cancer metastasize all over them. And then some people are walking around post-surgery with wounds. Some people are helping our brothers and sisters with this topic. Some are harming. So it's universal that this is going to be an issue for everybody. I'm left with Psalm 119, verses 9 and 11. How can a young man keep his way pure? By keeping it according to thy word. Thy word I have treasured in my heart, that I may not sin against thee. So maybe you'd want to look at that verse for starters in help with this. But let's raise our level of concern. Let's raise our eyes to our brothers and sisters. Let's help each other with this area. Thanks for listening.